Just a minute. Namaste everyone. Good evening. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to session number 5 of this certificate course on Indian knowledge systems, pathways and trajectories. And I think in the next week, we may try to think and ponder about why we have called this course Pathways and Trajectories. I urge all of you to think about it, and we can discuss it when we have time. But today, this is the last session of the first week, and we have a very bright, talented scholar with us today, Dasari Narasimha ji. Namaste and welcome, Narasimha ji.
Namaste, everyone.
I am pleased to introduce Narasimha ji to the gathering, as also I invite Dr. Lata Kumar Madam, the convener of this course, in charge Department of Sociology and coordinator IQAC from Shahid Mangal Pandey Government PG Girls College, Meerut, Uttar Pradesh, which is the collaborating institution with us, NLD, in this certificate course. I invite Lata ma'am for the opening remarks for this session.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर निधि। मैं प्रोफेसर लता कुमार, शहीद मंगल पांडे गवर्नमेंट गर्ल्स पीजी कॉलेज मेरठ की तरफ से इस आभासी मंच से जुड़े हुए, इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़े हुए सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत और अभिनंदन करती हूँ। हमारे चीफ पैट्रन प्रोफेसर अमित भारद्वाज जी, निदेशक उच्च शिक्षा उत्तर प्रदेश, इस कार्यक्रम की पैट्रन हमारी महाविद्यालय की प्राचार्य प्रोफेसर अंजू सिंह जी, और हमारे आज के इस कार्यक्रम के मुख्य वक्ता श्री दसारी नरसिम्हा जी, सभी का मैं इस मंच से बहुत बहुत स्वागत और अभिनंदन करती हूँ। साथ ही हमारे साथ जुड़ी हुई हैं को-कोऑर्डिनेटर डॉक्टर निधि जी और डॉक्टर विकास जी, हमारी आयोजन समिति के सभी सदस्यों और इस मंच से जुड़े हुए समस्त प्रतिभागियों का मैं कन्वीनर के रूप में बहुत बहुत स्वागत और अभिनंदन करती हूँ। निश्चित तौर पर हमारा आज का जो विषय है वो बहुत ही चैलेंजिंग है, क्योंकि इसका जो टॉपिक है वही है चैलेंजेस इन आईकेएस। तो बहुत सारे विचार यहाँ पर आने वाले हैं मुझे लगता है, क्योंकि चैलेंजेस की जब हम बात करते हैं तो बहुत सारी संभावनाएं हमारे सामने प्रकट हो जाती हैं। बहुत सारे हमारे सामने हाइपोथेसिस आ जाते हैं जब हम चैलेंजेस पर बात करते हैं, क्योंकि जब तक हम चैलेंजेस में नहीं जाते हैं हम चीजों को एक्सेप्ट करते रहते हैं, पर जब चैलेंजेस सामने आते हैं तो हम देखते हैं नहीं, यहाँ पर काम करने की जरूरत है, यहाँ पर काम करने की जरूरत है। तो जो रिसर्च की संभावनाएं हैं वो चैलेंजेस शब्द से बहुत सारी हमारे सामने आ जाती हैं। तो आज के जो भी व्याख्यान होगा, मुझे लगता है कि इसमें बहुत सारे शोध के आयाम गढ़े जाएंगे या लोगों को प्राप्त होंगे कि आईकेएस पे हमें क्या क्या और सोचने की जरूरत है, क्या क्या ऐसी चीजें हैं जिनमें बहुत सारा काम होना बाकी है। और चूंकि दसारी नरसिम्हा जी पीएचडी स्कॉलर हैं, तो अभी वो जब काम कर रहे होंगे तो उनको भी बहुत सारी चीजें नई नई नजर आ रही होंगी, कुछ खोज रहे होंगे, कुछ और भी ऐसा दिख रहा होगा कि नहीं ये वाली चीज भी है, ये भी है, इस पर भी काम किया जा सकता है। तो एक बहुत ही अच्छा टॉपिक लेकर आ रहे हैं दसारी नरसिम्हा जी। दसारी जी, आपका इस मंच से मैं बहुत बहुत स्वागत करती हूँ, अभिनंदन करती हूँ, और इस कार्यक्रम के लिए, इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़ने के लिए मैं महाविद्यालय की तरफ से आपका बहुत धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करती हूँ। थैंक यू सो मच। जय हिंद।
थैंक यू निधि जी, थैंक यू लता जी।
Thank you so much, Lata ma'am. I am mighty pleased to introduce Dasari Narasimha ji formally to this gathering. Dasari Narasimha ji is a dedicated scholar and practitioner of Hindu knowledge systems. Currently, he is pursuing his PhD at the Center for Indian Knowledge Systems, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Guwahati. He has a background in mechanical engineering and Hindu studies, and with this background, he brings together both technical precision and civilizational depth in his work. He is also the founder of Samvad Bharati, a civilizational knowledge initiative that offers strategy, education, and guidance rooted in dharma. With extensive experience in instructional design, Narasimhaji specializes in translating traditional Shastra-based knowledge into structured, engaging learning formats. His work bridges Shastra and pedagogy, and he actively develops Panchang-based tools, interactive courses, and mentorship frameworks to support students and scholars engaging with the Hindu knowledge system in modern contexts. So ये जो था वो नरसिम्हा जी का फॉर्मल इंट्रोडक्शन था, पर मैं सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स से ये कहना चाहूंगी कि नरसिम्हा जी से मेरा जितना भी ब्रीफ इंटरैक्शन हुआ है, I have found him to be a very enterprising, dynamic young scholar जो बहुत ही गहराई से भारतीय ज्ञान परंपराओं के विविध एस्पेक्ट्स को देखते हैं, समझते हैं. मैं इनके साथ फॉर्मली कुछ समय पहले ही जुड़ी और मैं कई सारे आईकेएस के व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स में हूँ, और जब मैं देखती हूँ कि ये किसी विषय पर कितना डीप जाकर कितने स्कॉलरली तरीके से अपनी आर्ग्यूमेंट्स रखते हैं, तो आईकेएस का जो भविष्य है, इट लुक्स वेरी वेरी प्रॉमिसिंग विथ मैंटल इन द हैंड्स ऑफ स्कॉलर्स लाइक नरसिम्हा जी. एंड नरसिम्हा जी के साथ मैंने एक सेशन अटेंड किया था पंचांग के ऊपर. आगे अगर आपको इन विषयों में इंटरेस्ट है तो नरसिम्हा जी का जो प्लेटफॉर्म है संवाद भारती, उसके साथ अवश्य जुड़े. नरसिम्हा जी, एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन यू कैन शेयर सम डिटेल्स अबाउट योर इनिशिएटिव, और आप देखेंगे कि कई सारे इंटरेस्टिंग सेशंस ये रेगुलरली करते हैं. जिनको भी इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम में रुचि है, आप जुड़ सकते हैं. बहुत सारे समकालीन विषयों पर नरसिम्हा जी बात करते हैं, और उनका जो ऑब्जर्वेशन है, जो अवलोकन है, एनालिसिस है आईकेएस को लेकर, इट इज वेरी वेरी शार्प, यूनिक एंड ओरिजिनल. और ये बहुत हर्ष की बात है कि अब इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम्स में पीएचडी भी की जा रही है. और आज का जो विषय नरसिम्हा जी ने चुना है, हालांकि जब सबसे पहले हमारी बात हुई थी इस सर्टिफिकेट कोर्स को लेकर, तो मैंने सुझाव दिया था कि पंचांग विषय पर हम कुछ बातें करें. बट आज का जो विषय है, इट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, कंटेम्पररी एंड रेलेवेंट. चैलेंजेस इन आईकेएस, कन्फ्रंटिंग रेजिस्टेंस, रिफ्रेमिंग कॉन्फिडेंस एंड रिक्लेमिंग इंडियन नॉलेज. मैं आमंत्रित करूंगी नरसिम्हा जी को, वो अपने सेशन की शुरुआत करें.
थैंक यू सो मच. Thank you, Lataji. Thank you, Nidhi for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for taking this interest in this Indian knowledge systems and have been actively working in this. So I'll start. I'll share my screen. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, okay. Okay, fine, we'll start. So first we'll start, because we have been talking about knowledge and knowledge systems, to the knowledge systems of Bharat. One thing that reminds me when I speak about knowledge is Ma Sharada. Sharada, also known as Saraswati, also known as Bharati, and from which our country's name Bharat also comes from, because we, the people, are always been fascinated about knowledge, and we are always the people of knowledge. So I start by remembering Ma Sharada, and Ma Sharada especially of Kashmir, where she is like stuck, not getting her puja and all. So we start with this. This is the place, Sharada Peeth, where from where the knowledge, all the knowledge has been flowing for thousands of years. Even in our classes, when we discuss about Kashmir, it is said that knowledge is produced in the regions of Kashmir and the Himalayas, and then इनके जो भाष्य है, commentaries है, they were written in Varanasi. So these two become very important when it comes to talking about knowledge, and whatever we discuss, it might be somewhere connected to these regions. So we'll start with a prayer to Ma Sharada, and I want you to visualize or even meditate on this temple over here. So we'll start. You can also read if you want. I've kept it here. Oh. नमस्ते शारदे देवी काश्मीरपुरवासिनी त्वामहं प्रार्थये नित्यं विद्यादानं च देहि मे या श्रद्धा धारणा मेधा वाग्देवी विधिवल्लभा भक्तजिह्वाग्रसदना शमादिगुणदायिनी नमामि यामिनीं नाथ लेखालङ्कृतकुन्तलां भवानीं भवसन्ताप निर्वापणसुधानदीं भद्रकाल्यै नमो नित्यं सरस्वत्यै नमो नमः वेदाङ्गवेदान्त विद्यास्थानेभ्य एव च ब्रह्मस्वरूपा परमा ज्योतिरूपा सनातनी सर्वविद्याधिदेवीया तस्यै वाण्यै नमो नमः यया विना जगत् सर्वं शश्वज्जीवन्मृतं भवेत् ज्ञानाधिदेवी या तस्यै सरस्वत्यै नमो नमः यया विना जगत् सर्वं मूकमुन्मत्तवत्सदा या देवी वागधिष्ठात्री तस्यै वाण्यै नमो नमः. Yeah, thank you so much. So you see the meanings. We'll start with this only. Without whom this entire world would always be mute or like a madman. She who is the presiding deity of speech, to the goddess of speech, we are doing the salutations. So with this, we start. So we said that Bharat is a civilization of knowledge. It is by the knowledge and it is for the knowledge. All the people that are there in this country have always been very fascinated about and always tried to work towards, and always we can also say that they have reached that states of knowledge, the highest states of knowledge, whom we call as rishis. And this knowledge, it is not said to be something that is constructed. It is something that we ourselves become sensitive of, which is the knowledge is said to be inherent. For example, if you take any being, for example like an animal or even a human being, they always come with this knowledge. If you give them food, they will eat it. They don't apply it on a face. So that is also knowledge. So even that knowledge is also being given by this Ma Saraswati only. So in that sense, we see knowledge as something inherent, and whatever is being constructed around it is the thing that is stopping us. So to visualize, if we see, the knowledge systems of Bharat are now being covered or being kind of uh, obstructed by these things. When we get rid of such dust kind of coverings around this lantern, which is knowledge, then only we will be able to truly get the sense of it, or truly let that function at its fullest state. So let's see what are things that are covering it. Dogma, apathy is not having an interest. Pride or mada, these are something very inherent within human. Lack of funding. So there has been a research, a kind of a survey being done. So in that, it is found that there has been very less funding with in these fields, and that is that is also very evident. Like it took 75 or 76 years for us to establish something like Indian knowledge systems. And then lack of application. So even though these knowledge systems are being applied at home within some circles, it's not widely applied. Colonization, of course, jealousy, this even within, and it's also the jealousy that this knowledge is coming from this place, that is also stopping. Blind acceptance of ignorant knowledge systems, delusion, lack of reward systems. This also we can see when we see the poverty level of people or practitioners within these fields. Then the greed, of course, then Western indoctrination, anger, lust, something that within human, and adharma. And when we get rid of all these things, that knowledge which is inherent, which is always present within every human, that will be visible. So that's what we are trying to see, and we'll try to explore all these problems, and then we'll see how we can get to the core of it within our own selves. Coming to the challenges, I've listed down a few challenges and I've seen how we can tackle them also. And when we look at the challenges, and the first challenge that comes is our own self, because we didn't we didn't go through this knowledge system for all these years since schooling, college, and even workplaces, the society around it, the administration, the economic systems, the world around, everything, it don't really have any connection with the roots of it, the roots of this knowledge system. So we are trained in this for many years. We are trained in this Western, or we can say false or half-baked knowledge systems which don't give us any kind of fulfillment. So the first challenge is our own self. That is the only thing that will stop us initially. When we try to explore some other thing, that our own self will start questioning, is it even something relevant, or does it even work today? All those things. So the first, we should win our own self or convince our own self. Let's see how we can do that. So the first thing in this dismantling this colonization is to learn learn how the colonization happened. What are the things that we are taught, that connects to these colonized ideas, or something that obstructs that knowledge, that which is very inherent and which is very natural to us. So to understand this, first to learn, I suggest reading the books of J. Sai Deepak, because these books, they don't just contain the views of Sai Deepak and all. He also gives a lot of references. It's a book full of references to many works that have been happened regarding this colonization and how and the roots of Bharat. So these things can help you learn about them, and once you have learned them, you should be able to identify. This is like a task for you in your daily life. Every time you go to a market, or you go to a meeting, or you see some theory coming up or something coming up, then you should know, from that reading you should be able to identify where this is coming from, and what are the roots of this whatever thing that is being put out for us, which we kind of give consent, and we say yes to that knowledge and yes to that whatever practice, and then we accept it. So first thing is to learn and then identify. After identifying, you have to deconstruct it. Deconstruction is, in simple terms, is to reject that. You tell your own mind that this is not the correct knowledge. For example, if you take something like Indian philosophy is just religion, which is something very popular opinion, and not true philosophy like Greeks. So this is the kind of perspective you will get even in academics. even within people who practice Indian knowledge systems. So this is something that is being very deeply indoctrinated. So first thing you will do is you have learned how, so you will reject it, but you don't reject it blindly just because you follow this. You reject it through awareness. That awareness comes from the reading that we have done previously. And with that awareness, when you reject it, it can't make a way back to you again. So that is gone. Once you start seeing this colonization or this false knowledge around you, you can't unsee it. So once we deconstruct, we have rejected that, we should replace it. So after deconstruction, what we should do is reconstruct that thing. We should replace it with a Bharatiya parallel. What is my, what is the true knowledge system? It's not even mine. It's not, we're not honoring it because it is mine or it is ours. We're honoring it because it is the one that frees us. Because in Bharat, the knowledge is about knowledge is that which frees the individual. So we are thinking in terms of that. So then you will replace it, reconstruct your own reality once rejected. For example, we talked about philosophy previously, then we can replace it with something like the darshanas, like Nyaya and Vedanta and others are rigorous schools of logic, metaphysics, and epistemology, forming a philosophical tradition as vast and valid as any other. It's even better to say it's as vast and valid. Even it's like far more bigger, and it's discussing something much more larger aspects. So this is also one difficulty one we face is it's like talking to a child when you're trying to explain a concept of Indian knowledge systems to someone so rooted in false knowledge systems. It's like talking to a child. When you talk to a child, you cannot you should bring down that knowledge and you should be able to very nicely explain that. So that is the, so we cannot directly talk to them this knowledge system. We should bring it down, break it down. So think of it like that. Then after doing that, we should find an application. So okay, we have replaced the reality from whatever scriptural knowledge we have attained. And then what do we do with that? We should be able to replace and then find an application for it for the modern times. So that's what it's all about. You should be able to solve problems. Even solving problems is not the ultimate, but the first step is to you will deconstruct and then reconstruct, and then you will find an application to it. You give an alternative theory or a framework to the people, and then you will showcase the results. For example, the colonial approach, or the approach where human is centered in the center and kept at the highest, and then nature has been taken as something to be exploited. There the nature is seen as a resource which is to be managed and exploited for the maximum economic output. So that is the view of the colonial thing. So we, since because we are replacing and reconstructing, we should also give a new approach to that. And when we give that approach, it will look something like this. This can be thought of in everyone's field, whether you're working in whatever field, whether it's metallurgy or Ayurveda or whatever field you are working in. You should always think in terms of what is happening right now and what can be the alternative, and be vocal about it. So it will be something like nature or Prakriti is a living sacred entity, and policy must be based on dharma and rita, the harmony of with that whatever world we are living in, nature and all. So that's about the first challenge. Then the next challenge. Okay, you have done all the job, you have deconstructed it, and then you have reconstructed it, and then you have found an alternative also. And then what? You propose it, and then it will be dismissed. It will be called something not practical or pseudoscience. They don't really give reasons. It will be dismissed simply by many, and maybe some of them may consider it with some so many conditions, and maybe a few may consider it for reading or something like that. So there's so much of resistance to accept these frameworks. and that also has a reason, and that reason is the familiarity. Because we are trained in these false knowledge systems for a long time, we got familiar. We can we somehow are able to live with that reality. Yeah, it's like people even in North Korea also people will live. It's not like it's a grave or some dead place. There also people live. Even in Bharat also people live. Even in America also, different places people still survive. It's because people get familiar with whatever they are living in. There's a movie called Shawshank Redemption, if you have seen. In that, it's something that happens in a prison when those people, when they get released from the prison, they get freedom, but they can't adapt to the free world outside. So they die, they kill themselves. So it's like that familiarity, which like we, even if you see, there are people some senior people who still use uh, documents, physical documents for their work, even after we getting digital documents and all. It's not about utility, or it's not about usefulness, or how much return on investment it gives. That comes next. But even before that, it's about familiarity. So we want to break this, bring people out of this getting familiar with ignorance and all. We want them to come out of it. So how do we do that? Let's see. So the first thing is to know your audience. Like whoever you are presenting your knowledge, you should know them. You should talk to that person in a way that they understand. So how you know your audience? We'll take one example of a doctor, allopathic doctor, and we try to communicate with that person. So knowing your audience is about knowing about their primary concerns. Like for a doctor, it's patient safety, evidence-based results, liability, professional standards, what is being considered for the time, and they don't take unproven methods. So that is their primary concerns. Once you have understood, another thing you have to understand is their language and their terms. What is their language? If we speak about atoms, molecules to someone living 500 years ago or some 1,000 years ago, they don't understand. But today we will understand because those terms are very familiar for us, and we kind of you we have a common understanding of those terms. So you should think about their terms. What is their language, and what are the terms they are working under? Then their core beliefs. These beliefs can be religious beliefs or something that they believe. Even for their own profession also, there will be some presumptions. For every subject, there will be some presumptions. For example, in mathematics, if you put a plus, that means addition. If you use that same plus somewhere else, it may not be used for addition. So there are some presumptions and some written down codified terms and beliefs. Even in research, we need this normal distribution for the population that we are taking. So there are presumptions. You should understand their core beliefs. What are they operating? What is the main thing that is working behind them? After understanding your audience, you should start the dialogue. Whatever you have worked out, and you should start presenting it in a way that it appeals to them. You should talk to the human in them, someone who is when you see a person, you should see what training they have gone through, and what is the mind that they are holding, like what is the level of consciousness. So let's say we want to present something to a allopathic doctor. So I want to ask the audience here, if you can answer. So how would you go about presenting it? How would you go about opening a discussion with someone like an allopathic doctor? Imagine yourself an Ayurveda research scholar or some person working in Ayurveda. You want to present something.
Yeah. Can we have some responses in the chat box? By the way, this is a very familiar situation in my own house because both my parents are allopathic doctors, and I do have a difficult time talking to them about alternative healing systems or indigenous medical systems with them. But how I have broached the subject is I always start with some examples that, okay,
Okay.
look, this person who's a friend had been trying allopathy and allopathic treatments for a long time, but when she chose to opt for homeopathy or Ayurveda, it worked for her. So different
Hmm.
approaches work for different people. And another way that I try is I try to talk to them about the different malpractices that we see in the modern medicine system, and how there are communities and tribes who still practice indigenous medicine, and how there is a wealth of knowledge in indigenous medicine. That's how I have done it, and this is a real example from my side.
Okay, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You can answer like A, B, C. If you can read the options, if you want me to zoom in, I'll zoom in.
Yeah, there are some responses in the chat box, Narasimhaji. Dr. Neha
Mm-hmm.
is saying that we could discuss the side effects of allopathic medicines. Uh, Pooja
Okay.
ji is saying the second option. Maybe she's referring to the second option that I talked about.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
more responses
these
are
three options,
welcome.
if you can see.
Yeah.
So I'll just read out. First is if you can start like allopathy is failing us, we must immediately adopt the holistic wisdom of Ayurveda. So you say allopathy is failing us, and Ayurveda can offer a holistic system. Second is you can say I'd like to discuss incorporating evidence-based complementary practices to improve patient outcomes, particularly in chronic area. Or you can say, can we talk about some other ways to heal? Something like you can casually start a talk.
Yes. So some of the participants have said that they would like to go with the second option.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's right, actually. Because there we are talking about evidences and patient outcomes, so that interests them. Then they're asking about what specific practices you're referring to, and we are talking about yoga nidra, and we can talk about vata pitta kapha thing also, and we can talk about something like a turmeric thing. So among these options, would you like to try something?
Yes. Uh, Second option, Yashodhara ji, Dipali ji, Ribhav ji. They're going with the second option. Michelle ji wants to go with option number C, third option. Pooja
Okay,
ji
great.
wants to go with option A. So let's find out. Jyoti ji with option B, second option. So quite a variety of
Yeah, okay.
responses. Yeah.
Yeah, option B is actually it's a new term. Vata, Pitta, Kapha is a new term for them. So if
Mm.
you go with that, it becomes difficult for them to understand. Okay, uh, we'll reattempt. First, we went for this. For the second one, even this recommending turmeric, that can bring a little amount of trust. But we can have a better alternative because, wait. Turmeric is something familiar. People usually use it, and there's a lot of familiarity with that. That is also works. But something like this, we can try yoga nidra. It lowers the cortisol levels and blood pressure in hypertensive patients. So here we are talking about something that they use the terms like cortisol level or blood pressure. So this is more of a what do you say, more scholarly. So this option will give you more trust. And then, okay, the doctor has agreed for that. Then the doctor is asking, the, the doctor is saying that, okay, I've seen some of that research, but how does that fit into our treatment protocols? Because they have their own protocols. and they are saying it seems vague. So among these options, what you would like to try?
Yes. Pooja ji, Divya ji are saying option B.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Which three of you would makes you think that this would make them more convinced or more open to exploring the Indian knowledge system? B. Okay. Neelam Rani ji, Neha Rani ji, everybody's saying B. Dr. Pooja is saying
Okay.
A. Ribhav ji says A. Bhavina ji says B.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay, so I think majority would
Yeah, we're
want to
getting a
go
lot
for
of B's.
B. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. B is correct. We'll just go back and see a little of it. Uh,
So I hope the participants could make sense of what Narasimha ji has very beautifully demonstrated. When anybody expresses hesitation or reluctance or resistance, because remember we are encountering resistance to Indian knowledge system. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है कि हमने कहा इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम करना है तो सभी ने खुशी खुशी मान लिया है. Now of course because it's mandatory as part of NEP 2020 we are doing it, but there are a lot of people who want to resist it. They may be actively resisting it, they may be passively resisting it. We don't know, it really depends how to tackle these resistances. You can't go on shouting and screaming and saying that no, have to do it. But the way Narasimha ji has demonstrated how logically you have to do it. First is unlearning or self-learning. Second is identification. Third is replacing the colonized framework with our Bharatiya framework. And then fourth is using the art of persuasion. Right? Yeah.
yeah, correct. Hmm. So here, if we say directly, it's not vague, it's holistic. It kind of offensive. We are not. We are saying we are directly saying it's not. It's not vague. That's like a direct block to what they have said. If we say it just works, people feel better. It's like directly pushing our view. But here we are saying we are starting with the word I agree. That immediately lowers their whatever guard they have put. That lowers, and they start their mind opens to whatever you're saying. So I'll also talk about some phrases. So this works because it starts with I agree, and it's talking about pilot program. It's not saying okay we will use it fully. It's talking about something that they can do. Every time you offer some solution, we should offer in a way that it's possible for them to say yes. So it's like making an irresistible offer for them. Okay, we have done that. So what we did is we empathized, and then we integrated, and then we persisted. We said in a way that it works for them by saying we use a pilot program and all that. So you can use these phrases. Opening phrases can be like building on what you said, continuing what they have said, and then placing your point. Or you can say like I can see why, and then putting their concern. Like this way you can use, you're saying that you empathize with them, you understand what they are saying. Or you can start like let's look at this from from the perspective of. So instead of putting your point of view directly, you're talking from their goal point of view. You're talking about their goals, and you're saying you can achieve your goal through this also, like that. You can also have bridging phrases, like that's an interesting point in another tradition, like this also you can start. Like if there are parallel systems, what if we looked at whatever concept they have said, and then you are offering a different lens. You're offering some database, you're saying there is proof of this concept. Or and then consensus, where you are persisting, you're kind of taking yes from them. For taking yeses, you kind of start with small. So you're saying what would a small measurable first step look like to you? If they want, so we're not taking a no for an answer. We're saying we want an yes and we want an yes from them for sure. We want it to be like a win-win situation. We want them to start off somehow. It's like some sales gimmick we are doing. So we're trying to get the yes from them. So we're making them more comfortable. Like, what is the position where you will be able to take this? Like, what would a small, measurable first step look like to you? Or could we agree to explore this further in a small pilot programs? Or what other information would help you more feel more comfortable? So such phrases will help you build that connection with whatever knowledge you want to present to them. So once that is done, sometimes there is these labels. We kind of often find them very loosely. These are used and very often used, and even if not used explicitly, they are like something that pops up in our mind immediately when we hear something traditional or something. So because I think with social media and a lot of information popping up and every information is being labeled to something, we're not able to see information as is. We always associate information with some label, and the popular labels are in within knowledge systems are like unscientific, propaganda, religious, outdated. These are all something very popularly used for IKS systems. Orthodox, pseudoscience. So such terms are used, and these are like turn-offs. It's like you went to have a nice dinner at some big restaurant, and then there some dude is shouting there is a fly in his food, and that's it. You're gone. You got a turn off. You will go to some other place. You didn't check whether the dude got the fly or not, what happened, all that, whether it fell after it is served or it's all not. You don't bother about all that. You just heard and you turned off with that restaurant and you go to different restaurant. So these labels are like those flies. We should always be very careful about them, and we should always be verifying whether these labels actually associate with that. So how do we bypass these labels? People put a label, they don't really bother whether this label applies or not. So there is a way also to bypass these things. First is you should isolate the utility. Instead of talking about where it comes from, like if you're talking about some Hindu knowledge systems, if you're talking about maybe Ayurveda, you don't talk start with Dhanvantri, you start with the utility of whatever medicine you are trying to introduce. So we'll check for an example. Let's say you are introducing a breathing technique like Nadi Shodhana Pranayama to someone like to a modern secular corporate wellness as a corporate wellness program. So before presenting, you should isolate its core function. Like it can be applied to any type, any knowledge and anything that you are presenting that comes from. If we talk about Indian knowledge systems, it all comes from something what we say as Aporishaya, because it's all coming from Vedas only. But we cannot start talking from that point of. We cannot say that it's Aporishaya or something coming from rishis and all that. We can start with utility of it. That sparks the interest because there is a benefit for the audience. So we're talking about Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. It's about cleansing nadis and balancing prana. But nadi and prana are new terms to these people. So what we do is we isolate its core function, what it does in terms of what they can understand. It regulates autonomic nervous system, calms the mind and reduces anxiety, shown to improve cardiovascular function, enhances focus and mental clarity. All these terms very much everyone familiar with and they understand, and this is all utility of it. So this sparks the interest and you work with that. You reframe it. You take one more step. You say, okay, I don't put it as what it in its original name. Let's rename it, kind of like the Trojan horse where you put soldiers inside the horse, like that. So you reframe the concept and you rename it. Among these, again a question if people wants to try. For Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, what term will be more appealing or acceptable to someone who is not at all familiar or not at all someone who don't understand these things like prana and nadi? Think of it like you're presenting it to European culture. How will you name it?
Very interesting question. We would like some responses in the chat box. अगर आपको नाड़ी शोध प्राणायाम ऐसे किसी व्यक्ति को बताना है जिसको पता ही नहीं है कि ये क्या है, कोई अलग कल्चर से है या कोई कह रहा है कि नहीं आईकेएस में तो कोई दम नहीं है, उनको ये कॉन्सेप्ट आप क्या नाम से इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे, कर सकते हैं? देयर आर 3 ऑप्शंस ऑन द स्क्रीन. सो बी इज वन रिस्पॉन्स. Another response, another vote for B. Anybody else? B, okay. There are most of people who have responded have said B. Anybody
B.
else?
Yeah, okay, we're getting B's. Yeah, and they're right also.
Okay.
Because it don't use the terms like yogi, sacred, or traditional. Nadi Shodhana, it itself is not new. They don't understand it's new. So this is a neutral name and it focuses on the function that they understand. This is also how the Christians have conquered different places. Wherever they go, if they cannot conquer their indigenous culture, what they do is they set up a college or a university or a school. Within India also, it started with English education. So with that, they introduce their frameworks as something that appears to be secular, like mathematics or science and all. So we are not really doing that level of manipulation. We are trying to do something else. We'll see what. Then we demonstrate the value. So what we do is once we have renamed it, we also demonstrate what happens with that. We demonstrate that value. And when we present the value that gets accepted, now the label is bypassed. Now they cannot label it because they have seen the utility, they have seen the value, they have seen it in a different name. So they are not able to relate it with some older practices, and they are even more happy that this is something new coming in, and it might they might think that that will replace what's been used already. But we to complete this cycle, you should always connect it back to the source. Once that is established, it's like you have said uh, this example, it's not like we are doing a scam. There is this scam thing that happens where people ask to pay, like, initially they'll be asked to pay like so there is this WhatsApp scam where they ask you to like YouTube videos or rate a hotel and you'll get paid 200 rupees like that. Initially they will pay you, or they will add that money to the wallet, and then they will say to release this amount you have to pay some small amount. They'll start with 10 rupees or 50 rupees or 100 rupees. Slowly the amount will increase. First they'll say okay, let's pay 100 rupees, then they'll say additional 50 rupees should be paid for this service, then they'll say additional 5 rupees should be paid for this. Like that they keep on going. The person will not be able to reject it because they have already invested so much. Here also they have already invested so much into this process that right now when you say okay, this bilateral respiratory balancing is nothing but nadi shodhana pranayama, they can't reject or refuse it mentally. Even they can do it forcefully, they cannot do it mentally because there what do you say, that atma sakshi that won't say, that won't reject, because it has seen the value. So that way you will be able to reconstruct this whatever knowledge that you want to present. That label thing, you can bypass labels using these steps. Okay, next challenge is the divide, perceived divide. Okay, my screen is off, I think, right? You can see my
No.
screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can see your screen, and I just wanted to quickly comment about the labels that you presented in your slide. These are pretty much the labels that are associated with IKS. And I think we must all
Yeah.
pay attention to it, even in Professor Mahadevan's book. And myself and
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Vikas were very fortunate to attend Professor Mahadevan's in-person faculty development program on IKS. And that was
Hmm.
our first exposure to IKS. And at the very beginning, in the very first session, he was discussing what are the labels that are usually associated with traditional knowledge, in this case, Bharatiya knowledge. And these were the very labels that he spoke about. Orthodox है, पुराना है, अभी कोई काम का नहीं है,
Yeah.
अनसाइंटिफिक है, इसको तो आप धर्म से जोड़कर धर्म की बातें कर रहे हैं. These are actually the challenges that one encounters when one takes IKS to the classroom. And one thing that I also want to quickly add in here, just as a reflection, is that sometimes, at least it has worked for me in my classes, when you bring in examples from other similar ancient civilizations, Greek civilization,
Mm-hmm.
Egyptian civilization, Mayan civilization, Roman civilization, and you tell them that, okay, those civilizational systems also had their ancient knowledge, and like that, we also have our ancient knowledge. That also helps bridge this hesitance and hesitation and resistance, in my opinion.
Yeah, correct. Hmm.
Great.
Great.
I hope
Thank you. Thank you.
everyone, yeah, I hope everyone is with us. If you are with us, kindly just give us a thumbs up, and Narasimha ji can continue.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. So next we have this perceived divide. Divide because we're talking about IKS, Indian knowledge systems, which are dating back to times which people can't even imagine. Around 50% of the world cannot think beyond 6,000 years. Something happened beyond 6,000 years. And we are saying around 6,000 years back, we had a big war happen. There were kingdoms flourishing with so much of wealth and all the knowledge. And we are not even stopping there. We are going even back. We are going to millennia, and we are going to lakhs of years also. So we are talking about knowledge systems that are like continuous and coming from a very long time, and that becomes very difficult for the modern people to perceive. And also, this knowledge, since it's ancient, it's not uh, kind of integrated with the modern technology. We have this knowledge system in scriptures, which are big books, or some in different languages which people may not understand, or we have these systems presented in a very what we say old fashioned manner, or in a very different setup which is not modern people are not so familiar with. So this divide is there. There is a IKS knowledge systems is this IKS thing is there, and there is a modern technology. We should Technology is not a bad thing. It should be used in a way. Even the technology what we see is again built on these knowledge systems only. It's not like something that is coming from a different place. It's also through how knowledge has been spread out from India. It's all, whether it is numbers or astronomy or metallurgy or whatever knowledge systems, it all developed here, and it developed in other places also, but it is documented here and it is spread out from here. So whatever modern technology we see, it is also kind of having the same roots. So we should be able to integrate our knowledge systems with the modern technology for it to go forward. So how do we bridge this divide is by collaboration, a strategic collaboration. What we do is we collaborate. There will be some person like an app developer or a UI UX designer or some data scientist who might not understand this knowledge system, but we should not be like, oh, our knowledge system should be presented in this way only. It's not like we cannot use the technology. Whenever you think of your research or whatever work you're doing, think in terms of how technology can boost this my whatever research I'm doing or whatever knowledge I'm building. How can I integrate it? So here again an example has been taken. If you want to build a personalized Ayurvedic wellness app, you have all the concept, you have the vision, but you want people to be able to use it. So the first problem is feedback. It says that our own whatever app we have built, it looks outdated and it is confusing to navigate for the people. So the problem is with the interface. They are not able to navigate properly. Anyone wants to take a try, they can take. It's something who you approach, who you collaborate with. This skill is about collaboration. You were good with your own subject, you are a subject matter expert, and you want to collaborate, you want to build it together with people.
Yes. So who
So
will
the
you
problem
call?
is with the navigation. Yeah,
Yes.
who
Who
will
will
you
you
call?
call? Yes. Any responses? B.
Okay.
B is the response. Any more responses? Who do you think? So you are the subject expert in Ayurveda and you want to integrate Ayurveda with modern technology. And the idea is to, build an app. So if you want to have a strategic collaboration between your knowledge in IKS and you want to take it to the common people through a mobile
No,
application.
it's not about building app. It's about you
Okay.
have already built an app.
Oh, okay,
There is an
okay,
app,
okay.
but the problem is with the navigation.
Navigation. Correct, correct. Okay, okay. I thought we are in the process of building an app.
Yeah,
Okay, so the answer is
people
B.
don't know where to click. Okay,
Yes.
answers are B coming, but it's UI UX designer, someone who designs the layout of the app,
Okay,
user interface that helps in the navigation part.
okay.
Okay, then we have these design mockups. This is done. Now we need to actually build the app. Like it should work for iOS and Android. We want it to be integrated with different softwares. So in this case, who you want to go with?
I think Rajashri ji has replied B.
Okay,
Okay, Ribhav ji is saying A.
okay,
Okay, any more responses? Neha madam is saying B. And Gayatri ji says C. So there are, yeah,
okay.
again B. There are more responses for B, two for C.
Yeah.
So app
Okay.
developer is
B is
correct
correct.
answer.
App developer is correct. Yes. Yeah, that's correct. So
Okay.
when we want to integrate it with for different softwares, different operating systems, we go for an app developer. Then the app is built. Now we want to give personalized recommendations. We need to analyze user data to suggest the right routines.
Yeah.
For this, we will go for data scientist. Now the answers will become obvious. So
Yeah, yeah.
so
Yes, C.
next
C
we
is
want
the
to reach
answer.
out to the target audience. For that we go to marketing lead. This
Correct.
way, so the main thing is you don't need to collaborate with your own IKS people. You can collaborate outside your circle. That's the
Hmm.
main thing. You don't need to be like, okay, my IKS people, I'll be with these people. No. Okay, so we have built our app now. So that's what we are saying. When you collaborate with different people, you shine. I mean, the knowledge will shine. It will go out. So for this, you should know your vision. You don't need to know the tool. You should only know what you want to do. To give an example, I'll talk. If you guys know this, there's one filmmaker called Ram Gopal Verma. He's famous also. Uh, so he's someone when he entered the film industry, he's like a noob. He don't know anything. He don't know any craft. There are 24 crafts. He don't know any craft. But what he knows is he visualized how the movie will be. He was able to visualize and was able to present it exactly how he wanted to the team and to the actors and everyone. So that way, because he had a vision, he is able to build it with the help of the people. Can you see my screen? I think it's off.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, okay. Then you should, uh, yeah, okay. Then whenever you're working, you should think with the technology. As I said, how could uh, an app amplify this? It's not just about app or something like that. Any technology that is available, how see like what technology can I use to amplify my research work or bring it to larger people, all that. Then when doing these things, there is a chance of trying to kind of seduce, not like kind of get more views, more what do you say, more engagement, all that. There should all it should always only serve. It should not be feeding on people's inherent urges and all. Then the ultimate thing, you should always collaborate beyond your circle. Yeah. Next challenge is the ecosystem gap. So this is also a very big gap. So I've noticed this, and I've been seeing other ecosystems working so well, even in Andhra also. So yeah, the ecosystem gap, you have brilliant ideas, you have deep knowledge, and there's a lot of knowledge so much that even if entire nation works for 100 years also, it will still be left over. So that much of knowledge is there, and we need an ecosystem that feeds on it and that kind of makes use of it. So how do we build ecosystems? We take this Ram Setu principle, or the principle of Rama going to get Sita back fighting Ravana. In this, there are different types of people who worked in different areas and different ways. So we want an ecosystem that works in a multifaceted way. We don't want only Hanuman, or we don't want only one person or one mindset people. We want everyone to be part of this ecosystem. So first you can be Hanuman, the devotee, Bhakt. Often people label them as Andhbhakt. So if you're someone who is Bhakt of these knowledge systems, if people are labeling, I just want to say, if you're watching this, you're not an Andhbhakt. Your love is just unconditional, and that's the love of Hanuman. So you can be that. You can be a fearless supporter. So what the Hanuman kind is, people who support because it is a dharmic cause, not because they understand or they care a lot about what's happening behind. It's not much about what's happening and what's the logic behind all that. It's because this is a cause, this is a dharmic cause, and I support it. That kind of sincere Hanuman kind of people can be there. That kind of people we need, that they can be assimilated into this ecosystem. So one is that kind. Second is Nala and Neela. These are the builders. They have built this Ram Setu. So these are people with skills. So they can offer their skills. They don't understand what's the knowledge and all that, but they understand whatever work they are doing in their own fields. There could be software engineers, there could be lawyers, there could be politicians, administrators, other different kinds of people. These are like the builders who build apps or websites or platforms or ecosystems or frameworks, all these things. But they don't understand these knowledge system, they understand their own fields. So we want these kind of people also. We don't want like, there could be people who are an expert programmer and knows nothing about Indian knowledge systems. They could be part of this ecosystem. That's what I want to say, and they will be like Nala and Nila. So if you're someone who don't understand this IKS and all, because there is no training and all happening for last few years, last 100 years. So you might not know, but you might have trained yourself in some tool, something that is modern, so you can be part of this ecosystem. Then we have Sugriva kind. These are like allies. So it's like they think in terms of mutual benefit. They don't care about dharmic cause, or they don't care about what happens and all this what is called as jingoism. No, they don't care about all that. They care about how it will benefit me. So that win-win kind of collaborators, they can also. So it's our responsibility to be able to collaborate with all kinds of people. It's not like only people who ideologically matches with us. We want to collaborate with all kinds of people, because all kinds of people exist in the world. Then we have Vibhishana kind, the insider, someone who who is not from the IKS, but someone who wants to support IKS, but they are trained in different systems. It could be someone trained in a different religion or different philosophy, or from far away country like Europe or some other place. They don't understand IKS, but they understand their own systems. They understand their own uh, philosophies or frameworks, all that. They also can be part of this. So they can also be someone whom we collaborate with. They become the Vibhishana of our side. So what they can do is they can also offer critique also. It's not like always they should be supporting. They can offer a criticism also. Then we have the squirrel kind. These are, in when building this Ram Setu, everyone was building. Even the squirrel wanted to help. It got small pieces of sand and it put in the rocks. So that is also a help. That also help made the bridge strong. So you can be a squirrel. You don't you don't need to be someone who researches or builds and all that. You can just be someone who says yes to whatever the knowledge system is coming out. You can just be the one who gives consent. You say, okay, this is coming from this system. Oh, I agree this. I accept this. I use this. I consume this. I share this. I like this. Very small contribution, which is not really small. It's like one huge contribution in itself. So all these things. So this kind of ecosystem we are trying to build with squirrels, with Vibhishanas, with Sugrivas, with Nala and Nila, and also with Hanumans. So think in these terms when you're collaborating or thinking of collaboration with people. Then we have the standardization problem, because it's a very diverse knowledge system. Because
Narasimha ji
what's
just
happened?
Narasimha ji just giving you a time check.
Yeah,
It's 7:45, so we should be able to
yeah.
wind up in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, then we have this standardization problem. So knowledge systems are very diverse, and whatever knowledge is there, people have adopted and then built in their own ways. So we'll see how to deal with this standardization and diversity thing. If you are, let's say, trying to build a curriculum for Ayurveda, you can go with two ways. One is the unified standard. You can create one book for everyone. You still take the same principles, or you can have a model, a federated model, where you take the core principles and let the regional masters to contribute and then build on top of that. So that will be a good approach when you're going to standardization and all. That way every knowledge system will survive, and there will be a mutual respect between each other. So you go with defining the universal, then empowering the regional ones, then integrating languages, that is also very important, and fostering dialogue between each other. Then comes the last challenge. This is the ego trap. As we start learning, as we start knowing things, it feels so. Since because it is a very profound knowledge system, it is there is a chance that you kind of get consumed. This ego might build up. It happens, and it might turn into a cult. That is the very biggest problem. Cults are like they don't listen. Again, it becomes like a what is thought stopper. So how do you keep a check for that? You always keep Rishi as an ideal. So that's where we are trying to reach. And the Rishis are highest in knowledge, purity, kindness, more importantly, and discernment. And they are lowest in pride and judgment. So the chance of having knowledge and purity will lead to pride and judgment. That is there, but you can always keep a check. How will Vishwamitra deal in this situation? How will Vasistha be like? I think Vishwamitra's story is a very nice example. I suggest you all to read it. It's in the Ramayana, in Balakanda, I guess. I've just went through it recently. It's such a very beautiful story, and I suggest every scholar to go through it. So the Rishi, you should always keep them as the ideal. Yeah, and that's it. And we go back to home once. I just want to remind you of one thing again. So, with all this knowledge, uh, okay, yeah, with all this knowledge, if you ever reach a position where you can reach out to this Ma Sharda, please do. Please keep her in your minds and pass it on. Tell your children, tell your people that there is a temple, because this is the biggest challenge. It all flows from there. If we don't reclaim that thing, if we don't establish Ma Sharda, there can't be truly the, what we say, the knowledge being flourishing. So that is something that I believe in, and that is something has been the thing. Like if you take Valmiki or Vyasa or any scholar, they're all been, they all worship Ma Sharda, and from that only, from her only, all the knowledge has flowed. So yeah, that's it. When we become bigger, when we go to places like UN or some play media and all, I want you all to remember these things. Yes, thank you so much. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Narasimha ji. I must say
Yeah.
that um, I think we took the right decision by not doing a session on Panchanga, which I think you could do anytime and our participants could join, and do this session instead on the challenges confronting the teaching and research in IKS in present times, how to deal with these challenges, as also how to reclaim our knowledge system, which is the need of the hour. And I must commend you on a very thoughtful and a very original framework. I mean, there are a lot of people talking about the challenges that IKS is facing at the moment. There are many good things also being done, but there are these challenges. But honestly, I have not come across any such framework which lays down the challenges in IKS in such a sharp, precise, pertinent, and pointed manner. So, thank you so much for this presentation. And I really hope that uh, more and more scholars in IKS will gradually recognize these challenges, and they will mentor the next generation of scholars and teachers to identify these challenges, to navigate their IKS trajectory through these challenges, and then institutionalize IKS very firmly in our education system, something that we failed to do in the past 7 decades. So many thanks for this presentation, because challenges in IKS is a very frequently discussed topic. And I think that one session
Mhm.
is not going to be enough. That is why from this platform, I do want to propose to you that if Samvad Bharati can host an extended session where there could be your presentation and an elongated discussion on challenges in teaching and research of IKS, it would be very, very helpful. So thank you so
Yeah,
much. Thank you
definitely.
once again for accepting our invite, honoring our invitation, and gracing this platform. There are some appreciative comments in the chat box about your session, and
If you have any questions, people, you can ask maybe. Yeah.
yes, any questions, you can raise your hand. You could, uh, put your question, comment, insight in the chat box. I invite Dr. Vikas, my colleague, and Dr. Neha is also here. So Suryakanta ji is saying, great session. You share the step-by-step method how to use Indian knowledge system, uh, and how to expose it to a larger audience through technical education. So thank you. Wonderful session. So yes, Dr. Vikas, Dr. Neha, I invite you to share your insights. And of course, we are open for any questions. Dr. Vikas, are you there? Okay, Dr. Neha is not able to unmute. So, Dr. Neha, you can type your comment in the chat box. Yeah, okay. I think they're facing some technical issues. But yeah, we are still open for questions. One question that was coming to my mind, Narasimha ji, is
Namaste.
okay, sorry. Is there a question that we can see?
No, someone, Inaganti Chandramohan. Thank you.
Okay.
He's from Telugu person.
Yes, Neeraj is also right. The problems have been rightly identified and they've been presented in a very interesting manner with very relevant examples. So, one concern that I may want to flag here is that to some who are already trained traditionally in Indian knowledge systems, these steps and these mechanisms may come across as cultural appropriation. Okay. So, for example, when you said that we present Nadi Shodhan Pranayam as balancing of XYZ,
Yeah.
uh, and of course we complete this loop, we complete the cycle, and we take them back to the roots. But somebody may flag it in the beginning and may say that it may be damaging, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. I'm totally with you in the steps that we have presented. But what if there is a little scope for cultural appropriation? Somebody might steal and somebody might maneuver and manipulate our IKS concepts. What happens then?
Yeah, so it's always about understanding the audience. So you talk to the audience, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
So it's about understanding the audience. Whoever you are talking to, you should talk to them in their language and in their concerns and in their own terms. Also, if it appears as if cultural appropriation, again, as you said, we are connecting it back to the source. That is one thing. What I'll also say is there has always been this kind of innovation happening in our own systems. When temples were broken, people got gods into their own homes. They said then even there also, if it is stopped, they brought the gods into their own hearts. It became the bhakti movement. So there has always been this innovation and appropriation. Even the knowledge systems itself, we came from yagnas to temples, and now we'll move to tantra maybe. So it all happens, that appropriation, coming up with new things, and then always finding ways to keep following what we are following in a way that we're not breaking, or we're not going away from the core principles. We're only making sure that it preserves, and it preserves in a way that it applies to the time, because time and prakriti is also something that is always changing. And even I will say that even the oldest knowledge that we are talking about, uh, that may not sound or may not be actually relevant to this time. That is also a possibility, because uh, if you see, Vyasa came and he gave Vedas. He made Vedas into four and gave Puranas and all. Then Shankaracharya came and he said something on top of that, told the same thing in a different way. Bhagavan Krishna also came and he kind of summarized the Upanishads in a different way. And then we got Abhinava Gupta. He proposed a different way. So there are always kind of, we need rishis that belong to this time. We don't, even though we have rishis in the past, we want rishis who belong to this time, who can see the reality in its original sense, which is present in this time, particular time. So that time appropriation is, yeah, it will always kind of feels different, and it will always be different, and that
Right.
is something that we cannot reject.
Absolutely well said. I think this is a point which all of us must reflect on, think about, and speak to and collaborate with, as you rightly put it towards the end of your presentation, strategic collaboration with 5 types of people: Hanuman, Sugriva,
Yeah,
Nalanila, another two I'm
Vibhishana,
forgetting. Yeah,
Vibhishana and Squirrel.
Bhishana and the squirrel. So uh, I also agree that IKS cannot move ahead without collaboration. And I think this platform that we are present on, and of course, there are many other like us doing work on IKS, and it's all coming to fruition in collaboration only. So there's a comment by Parmeshwar sir. He's saying after 75 years, we are thinking about IKS. This is a first step, and thanks to the government for introducing new education policy, without which, of course, I agree that it would be a little bit challenging to kind of go back to IKS or mainstream it. Yes, thank you, Parmeshwar sir, for your observation. There is a question by Surya Kanta ji.
Yeah.
He is asking for remote locations where internet connectivity is very poor. How will you implement these educations or ideas to every kind of people, everyone, for the masses?
Yeah, okay. Again, this IKS thing, it's not about masses, it's about wherever you are, can you find an application in that place for your own family, for your own people? You don't need to mass produce or even learn from far away places. I or someone in some big college or someone may not know what the conditions of that particular remote place. They themselves know. It's all about removing what is being covered, right? It's not about building something. So if they are covered with something like English education or something like a colonized view or that different view towards the nature, the exploitative view towards the nature, all that, or if they don't have access to good health or good education, those things something that we can address. It's all about whether you can find an application for your own self. It's not about all that. You don't need to know all the philosophy, all that knowledge. I think if they are not kind of what do we say, manipulated their own places, they very much have the same knowledge only. They don't go far away from the original thing.
Correct. Absolutely. I hope Suryakanta ji that addresses your question in some sense. And also in the previous sessions, you were in the first session, right, Dr. Rachna Madam's session, and the kind of questions that were put about the teaching challenges in IKS. I think these are also lived experiences of teachers who are teaching IKS, and on a day-to-day basis, they are encountering these challenges. So we are hoping that the template that you have offered in terms of starting from unlearning, identification, replacing Western frameworks with ours, with examples, persuading, persisting, and till the end, shedding of the ego. I think that is a very useful template, and I am very certain that participants would like to reflect on this template even after this session has ended.
Yeah, also to reach out to the remote places, you don't have to have digital tools only. You can go with physical things like books or something that is very tangible that don't require internet. It's all
Correct.
about giving them in a manner that they understand,
They understand.
not about using all the tools and all. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think in the first session, there were also questions about how IKS is, at least in the classroom, because we have mixed classrooms with students from different religious backgrounds, how the perception is that by trying to do IKS, we are trying to ingrain religious education. Uh, that is, I think, not a very, it's not a criticism that has grounds. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आप भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा को सनातन धर्म से अलग करके देख नहीं सकते. ये मेरा व्यक्तिगत ओपिनियन है. हर धर्म की, हर संस्कृति की अपनी एक नॉलेज फिलॉसफी होती है. If we look at other religions, they also have their knowledge philosophies, core text. So if I have to teach a core text from that particular religion, whichever it may be, I'm not going to separate it and divorce it from that faith or religion. So why do I need to do it in terms of IKS? And I was very intrigued when I was reading Narasimhaji's introduction, and he said Hindu knowledge system. And recently I was interacting with a very senior professor, and I told him I was interested in Indian knowledge systems, and he asked me twice, are you sure Indian knowledge system or indigenous knowledge system? I said, of course, I'm interested in Indian knowledge systems, but I'm a Bharatiya. I live in India. I'm more interested in Indian knowledge system. I am happy to explore indigenous philosophies from New Zealand, from Australia, from Africa, etc. But as an Indian, I'll stick to Bharatiya Jnana Parampara. I had to emphasize it twice or thrice because I thought he was trying to check what I was interested in, and he wanted me. I almost felt as if he wanted me to say कि Indian नहीं, मुझे indigenous में interest है, but मैंने कहा नहीं, मुझे Indian में ही interest है. So these are some very subtle challenges that you may face, not in the classroom but outside the classroom as well. So we definitely need more discussion and lot of introspection, reflection on this aspect. But this presentation, yeah, sorry, you can respond.
No. For that religious thing, I've found one song. There's one song that is famous in Andhra these days. If you can play it, if I play it, don't come, the sound won't come. I'll share it. That will answer.
Okay. Will all of us be able to understand if it is in Telugu?
Yeah, you'll be able to understand. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, as
in my laptop, the sound won't come. If you can play, I'll put the link here.
Sure.
Play it from 1 minute. From 1 minute onwards.
Okay, just give me a moment. Meanwhile, Narasimhaji, if you want to put the link to the Samvad Bharati group in the chat box, you can.
Nidhi ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, Nidhi madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Geeta Chaudhary is here.
Yeah.
मैम मैं एक चीज इसमें मेंशन करना चाहूंगी, जो अभी जैसा आपने बोला कि हम सनातन धर्म को इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम से डाइवोर्स करके नहीं देख सकते. तो इसका मेन एक सिंपल सा कारण ये है कि जब इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम, जिस सिस्टम की हम बात कर रहे हैं, तब केवल एक ही धर्म था, तो वो सिंगल रिलीजियस सोसाइटी थी. और अब हम इसे इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम को जो अप्लाई कर रहे हैं वो करंट टाइम में मल्टी रिलीजियस सोसाइटी है. तो ये अपने आप में एक चैलेंजेस होना ही है. और दूसरी चीज ये है कि जैसे किसी भी चीज का जो आपने अभी बात अपनी कही थी, उससे मैं बिल्कुल अग्री करती हूँ कि जो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम में टर्म्स हैं, जो भी उसमें लिखा गया है कि बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, उसे हमें मॉडर्न टाइम के हिसाब से थोड़ा सिंप्लीफाई करना चाहिए. तो इसमें कई बार चीजें क्या होती हैं, बहुत सिंप्लीफाई करने के चक्कर में अपना जो ओरिजिनलिटी है उसको खो देती हैं. दूसरी बात कि अगर सिंप्लीफाई करना भी है कि हम सही कहा नरसिम्हा जी ने कि हमें टाइम से अपने आप को कोऑर्डिनेट करना ही पड़ेगा, तो भी मेरा ये मानना है कि अगर सिंप्लीफाई करनी भी है तो भी आईकेएस इकोसिस्टम के अंदर हर टर्म से रिलेटेड एक ही स्टैंडर्ड टर्म ऑपरेट की जाए या बताई जाए, ताकि उसका 4 तरीके से अगर वो बताई जाएगी तो हो सकता है लोग उसमें अगेन कंफ्यूज करें. तो अगर सिंप्लीफाई करना भी है, उसके पैरेलल टर्म्स निकालनी है, तो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम में इकोसिस्टम के तहत इस तरह का एक सिस्टम बनाना चाहिए कि इस टर्म को हम केवल इस पैरेलल टर्म को यूज कर सकते हैं. ये नहीं कि हर रिसर्च स्कॉलर या हर आदमी अपनी अलग अलग टर्म, ऑपरेशनल टर्म बना रहा है, तो उससे तो अगेन फिर ये कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा कि क्या हम उसी ओरिजिनल चीज पे बात कर रहे हैं या कुछ दूसरी बात.
बिल्कुल, आपने बहुत सही कहा गीता मैम. बहुत सारे ऐसे challenges हैं जिस पर नरसिम्हा जी ने बात की, और आगे उस पर एक extended discussion करना हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, ताकि multiple opinions इसमें हम जोड़ सकें, और जो टीचर्स पढ़ा रहे हैं IKS वो अपने challenges, अपने lived experiences को साझा करें और उस पर आगे बात हो. एंड आपने दोनों जो पॉइंट्स कहे वो बहुत सही है. मेरा थोड़ा जो पर्सनल ओपिनियन, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जब हर संस्कृति अपने ज्ञान परंपरा को धर्म या एक फेथ सिस्टम से जोड़कर देखती है, तो हमें भी उसमें शायद इतना हेजिटेशन नहीं होना चाहिए. बट आप बिल्कुल सही कह रही हैं कि एक डाइवर्स क्लासरूम में हमारे लिए एक यूनिक चैलेंज है. शायद जापान की संस्कृति में, चाइनीज संस्कृति में शायद ये चैलेंज ना हो, बिकॉज दे आर नॉट as diverse as we are. Of course, I'm sure they are also diverse, but हमारी जिस तरह की डाइवर्सिटी है वैसी दूसरे संस्कृतियों में नहीं मिलती, नहीं पाई जाती. सो हमारे लिए एक यूनिक चैलेंज बन जाता है.
बिल्कुल.
ग्रेट, थैंक यू.
Also one thing, when dealing with diversity, whatever diversity people may have, we are only fighting the shadripus, the 6 enemies, internal enemies. So they are kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, matsarya. These only will come up. So see what is feeding them and what is getting people rid of them. So when we talk about Hindu knowledge systems, we are talking about something that makes, frees the individual from them or keeps them suppressed and keeps them to the level that they don't harm us or harm others. So you can just think in those terms, and we are talking about suppressing or controlling or kind of getting control of those shadripus, and they are common for every human.
Thank you so much, Narasimha ji, for addressing all the questions and responding to all the comments. Only in the interest of time, if I may request that I will share the YouTube song link in the participants WhatsApp group and they could explore it by their own. Is that okay?
Okay, fine. If you can play, it will be very funny. It will be
okay.
Nice.
I'll play it, and after this we will, maybe we won't have time.
After this we can end.
We won't have the time to go into discussion, but we'll just
we don't discuss it, just like
all of us can reflect. So I'm sharing my screen.
From
I
1
play
minute
from
onwards
this
you can.
Point?
From 1 minute onwards. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Hussein Tandri Hasim Tandri Qasim.
Tandri means father.
Latif Tandri Sharif Tandri Shankar. Matalu Gatalu Marina Manatatalu Tandulu Marara. Matalu Gatalu Marina Manatatalu Tandulu Mararura. Idi mana desam Muranna. Idi swargamu kanna minna. Johnson father James father Gibson father Jaipal father Jairam Grandu father Vakkade Gatamanta Manadokkade Grandu father Vakkade Gatamanta Manadokkade.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that much only.
Okay.
I hope people understood it. If you haven't understood, if you go back to the lineages, we're all coming from the same lineage.
Right.
So
absolutely.
That's where you can connect different religious diverse people.
Yes. Thank you so much, Narasimha ji, for a very interesting and enlightening session. And as I said, this will become our template to think about the challenges in IKS from here and how to address these challenges. I am now pleased to invite Professor Bharti Madam from Sociology Department at Shahid Mangal Pandey PG Girls College to deliver the vote of thanks.
Hello.
Namaste, Madam.
I am Professor Bharti Dikshit from Economics Department.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Professor Bharti Dikshit, ma'am, from Economics Department. I request Madam to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, निधि मैम. सर्वप्रथम इस आभासीय मंच से जुड़े हुए सभी प्रतिभागियों को मेरा सादर अभिवादन और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद नरसिम्हा जी को कि उन्होंने इतना खूबसूरत प्रेजेंटेशन यहाँ पर हम लोगों के मध्य दिया और जिससे हम लोगों के ज्ञान चक्षु खुल गए कि किस तरीके से हम इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम को अपने स्टूडेंट्स के बीच में और लोगों के बीच में हम किस तरीके से उसको प्रसारित और प्रचारित करें। निश्चित रूप में जैसा कि हम देखते हैं कि हमारा जो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम है, कायदे में तो जब हम लोग आज़ाद नहीं थे उस समय तो हमारा नॉलेज सिस्टम फिर भी हम लोगों के पास था, लेकिन आज़ाद होने के बाद हमारी जो शिक्षा प्रणाली रही उसके कारण जो हमारी ये नॉलेज सिस्टम है, इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम, उसको हम कहीं भूल गए, क्योंकि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को या हम लोगों को उसके विषय में कहीं कोई सूचनाएं, किसी तरीके का ज्ञान हमारे किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म से हम लोगों को प्राप्त नहीं हो पाया। वो हमारी अपनी इंटेंशन या हमारी अपनी जो रुचियां थी उसके कारण हम लोग इससे जुड़े रहे और चाहते थे कि ये सब चीजें आगे बढ़े। और निश्चित रूप में जो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम जो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के माध्यम से हम लोगों के बीच में आई है वो बहुत ही हम सबके लिए, हमारे देश के लिए, हमारे राष्ट्र के लिए बहुत ही उपयोगी है। और कोई भी देश दुनिया में अपनी संस्कृति, अपनी संस्कार, अपने नॉलेज सिस्टम से डिस्कनेक्ट होकर के कभी आगे नहीं बढ़ता है। कोई भी आप देखें, कोई अगर पेड़ है, अगर हम उसको जड़ से ही काट दें तो कितना ऊपर जाएगा वो। तो सेम उसी तरीके से कि हमारी जो नॉलेज सिस्टम है उस नॉलेज सिस्टम को अगर मैंने थोड़ा बहुत जो पढ़ती हूँ उसके माध्यम से अगर हम देखते हैं कि बराह मिहिर का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है उनका केवल खगोल शास्त्र में ही नहीं, केवल उसमें जल के, मैं किसी आर्टिकल में सुन रही थी तो उसमें था कि जल को सर्च करने के लिए, जल को ढूंढने के लिए उनके जो उनकी बुक थी उदकारगल नाम की बुक, उसमें उन्होंने इतने खूबसूरत तरीके से, इतना साइंटिफिक तरीके से पूरा उसमें डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया है। इसी तरीके से जैसे बोधायन का 16 सूत्र है जो ज्ञान वेदी को मापने के लिए जो इस तरीके से सब चीजें की जाती थी उसके आधार पर ही पाइथागोरस प्रमेय बना। और ये सारी की सारी चीजें जो हमारे पास रही हैं और हम उनको एक तरीके से भूल गए हैं, विस्मृत कर दिया है। इवन जैसे कि नरसिम्हा जी ने ही अपने उद्बोधन में कहा कि हमारी जो मेडिसिन है और आदिवासियों के बीच में, भीलों के बीच में, जैसे यहाँ पर राजस्थान में गरासिया कम्युनिटी है, उसमें इतनी सारी मेडिसिन के जो चीजें की जाती हैं वो वर्तमान समय में जो मॉडर्न मेडिकल साइंस है वो भी उन्हीं सब प्लांट्स का उपयोग कर रही है, लेकिन हमने उन चीजों को एक तरीके से भुला दिया, हमने उन चीजों को कलेक्ट करके नहीं रखा। ये हमारे पार्ट पर एक तरीके से, हम लोगों के पार्ट पर एक कमी है, एक हम लोगों ने मतलब अच्छा नहीं किया। लेकिन अब ये समय आ गया है कि नरसिम्हा जी जैसे जैसे निधि मैम आप जिन जिन लोगों को जोड़ रही हैं अपने इसमें लेक्चर देने के लिए, वो सब यंग बच्चे हैं और वो इतना अच्छा भविष्य में करने वाले हैं। इन्हीं सबको देख करके मन एकदम आह्लादित हो रहा है कि आगे आने वाला समय अगर ये यंग पीढ़ी जो है ये इस चीज में उतर गई है तो फिर हमें कोई रोक नहीं सकता, हमें अपने नॉलेज सिस्टम को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए। जैसे अभी आप ये कह रही थी कि जापान में या चाइना में इस तरीके की दिक्कतें नहीं है कि हम चूंकि एक ही कल्चर है उनकी। हमारी सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत ये है कि हम चूंकि हिंदू कल्चर से जुड़े हुए हैं और हिंदू कल्चर सबको साथ लेकर चलता है, हमें सब लगता है कि कहीं किसी को बुरा ना लग जाए, कहीं ये चीज इसको बुरा ना लग जाए। हम अपने कॉलेज में भी काम करते हैं तो हम एक एक पर्सन का ध्यान रखते हैं कि कहीं हमारी किसी बात से किसी चीज को कोई चीज बुरी ना लग जाए। तो उस चीज को ध्यान रखने के कारण हमें दिक्कतें आएंगी, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हम अपने नॉलेज सिस्टम को हमें आगे नहीं बढ़ाना है, हमें आगे बढ़ाना है। और जैसा कि गीता मैम ने कहा कि वो उसका एक निश्चित रूप में एक रूप होना चाहिए, उसमें बहुत सारी वैरायटी होने से क्या होगा कि वो फिर कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा फॉर द पर्सन कि वो किस तरीके से उसमें रिसर्च करें या किस तरीके से उसको कोट करें। तो ये सब चीजें। और दूसरी चीज निधि मैम, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आप रोज ही एक नया मोती ले आती हैं और जिसके द्वारा मतलब लगता है कि आज कल वाले से भी आज बेहतर, अगले वाले से तो अभी हमारे पास और आगे के दिन है, तो हम कल्पना कर सकते हैं कि कितने मोती आप हम लोगों के सामने लाएंगी।
और आपसे बहुत एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि आगे आप इस तरीके का कोई भी कार्यक्रम कराएं तो हम लोगों को जरूर सूचित करें, क्योंकि हम लोग इस तरीके के कार्यक्रमों में अवश्य जुड़ना चाहेंगे। क्योंकि हमारी ये जो समर वेकेशन है उसका जिस तरीके से आपने यूटिलाइजेशन किया है लता मैम के माध्यम से, लता मैम का भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि उन्होंने हम लोगों को इस प्लेटफॉर्म से जोड़ा और हमें इतने खूबसूरत, इतने बढ़िया, इतने ज्ञानवान लोगों के द्वारा इतने अच्छे लेक्चर मिल रहे हैं कि हमें मतलब लग रहा है कि हमारा जो समर वेकेशन है वो बहुत 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 ज्यादा यूटिलाइज हो गया है। तो सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। विकास जी को धन्यवाद, निधि मैम आपको एक बार और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और लता मैम को धन्यवाद कि उन्होंने हम लोगों को इस माध्यम से जोड़ा कि हम लोग आपसे कनेक्ट हो पाए। थैंक यू।